Chapter 203. Are you giving this to me? Kishir nodded, catching sight of Ash's skeptical gaze. His smile was simply beautiful, free of any discernible intentions. For a moment, Ash's golden eyes wavered, revealing a greedy gasp. The mushroom, as Kishir described it, was a poison yet unknown to the world, meaning, as he'd said just before, if dried and turned into powder, it could be used to kill anyone in the same way that Lenore had been killed, even his father, Duke Apeto. But how can I accept something so precious that Your Highness must have had trouble acquiring? Unabashedly exposing his greedy eyes, Ashes showed a hint of refusal as a matter of courtesy. Kishir, knowing his intention, responded with a warm smile. You have gone through a lot of trouble to come here. Shouldn't I at least offer this much? After all, I have merely managed to obtain something earlier than it would have been available in Apeto. Consider this a small favor from me. Please don't decline. In that case, I accept. I am deeply grateful for Your Highness's consideration and wisdom. Ashes accepted the box with more grace and courtesy than anyone else. He struggled to keep a cold smile from creeping onto his lips. I will investigate this thoroughly, even if only to avenge Lenore's death. I would be pleased if it helped. In fact, I also bought a gift for today's meeting, albeit a small one. Oh, what is it? Showing interest, Kishir watched as Ashes accepted something from a servant standing behind him. Here. The object he placed on the table was a folded piece of paper that seemed rather ordinary at first glance. To show that it had no traps or devices, he broke the seal and unfolded it right in front of Kishir's eyes. It's a request sent to my father at the time when Lenore and my uncle Beltail decided to study the Awakeners together. It includes the proposed research site, resident servants, material supply routes, and the established cost and items needed. My father gave his approval with a seal. It should be useful in the trial. Incredible, Kishir admired softly as he picked up the paper. Where did you get this from? It would have been the first thing your family tried to get rid of. Originally, it was something my uncle Beltail had hidden in his own room within the mansion. After his downfall, while cleaning his room, a priest who happened to be connected to me found it first. He was lucky, Ashes simply stated, but Yudhis standing behind him subtly sensed the bloodshed that lay hidden behind those words. He says it like that, but he must have shed a lot of blood to find that and keep it safe until now. That piece of paper was the most concrete evidence that Duke Apeto had openly supported the research of Lenore and Beltrail. A chill involuntarily ran down his spine at Ashes Shan Apeto's calm demeanor, who was passing the weapon to strike his father's back to his enemy, all the while wearing an unaffected smile. Thank you. I gratefully accept this valuable gift. Kishir folded the paper and flipped it over to Yudhir. It was Yudhir standing on the left, not the formidable Nathan. Yudhir involuntarily turned his eyes toward Nathan. It was a situation where Nathan could have been upset, thinking that their lord had rated Yudhir's strength higher than his. However, Nathan only nodded his head silently and showed no significant change. The Red Stone incident really made a lasting impression. Yudhir silently accepted the paper from Kishir's hand. And this, I haven't fully confirmed yet, but I thought I should mention it just in case. As soon as Yudhir took the paper, Ashes lowered his voice and opened his mouth. There are rumors flowing within the family that my father might secretly send a nocturnal visitor to the Bright Palace soon. A nocturnal visitor? Yes, isn't it well known that people of the Apeto family have a temperament as volatile as fire for generations? As if he was talking about someone else, even though he was one of the Apetos, Ashes spoke. From this incident, he heard whispers of several servant corpses being secretly cleared out from the room. It suggests that he is quite upset. His judgment seems clouded, so he might really do it. It's just a rumor, but it's truly worrisome. Ashes was talking in a roundabout way, but the rumor he spoke was hardly just a rumor. So, the Duke of Apeto is planning to send an assassin to the palace where Prince Kashtian lives. He is giving this information in such a way. The smile on Kishir's face grew even deeper. That's quite worrisome indeed. Yes, as his son, it's not my power to step forward, but I hope that you, Duke Polita, will reveal the clear truth on our behalf. I will make sure to do so. To an outside observer, it was a truly beautiful conversation. So, is it over now? They had exchanged gifts, confirmed each other's intentions, and now it seemed time to stand up. But for some reason, Ashes did not rise from his seat just yet. He requested a warm tea instead of water and kept glancing around the room. His eyes seemed to be looking for something. Kishir, watching him, casually opened his mouth. Speaking of which, you have come all this way. Would you like to meet Revlin? It was so sudden, I didn't even think about arranging a meeting between you two. Ah, Ashes flinched slightly, a subtle expression on his face at the mention of Revlin. Yudhir did not miss the hint of jealousy that crossed his eyes. No, rather than that, well, the frail young man, his eyes shifting, seemed to make a decision and opened his mouth. Your Highness, you said that you were deeply impressed by the letter that I sent you some time ago. I did. At that time, I mentioned that while it's essential for those who deserve punishment to receive it through trial, our Apeto heritage, something seemed difficult for Ashes to express aloud, and he paused momentarily, moistening his dry lips. I said that the foolish acts committed by Lenore and Beltrail due to our blood of blessing should not be made known to the outside. Do you remember that? I do. Did you ask if I could hand over the confiscated research records in the future because of that? Ash's eyebrows twitched at the brisk and direct response. Yes, indeed. You did not provide a clear answer on that matter at the time. Might, uh, might you be able to provide an answer today? The conversation unfolded precisely as they had anticipated while reading Ash's letter earlier. Kishir had criticized Beltrail, who callously sacrificed the lives of the Awakeners in search of a cure for his family, as foolish. In the end, Ashes was no different. Didn't it cross his mind that if Beltrail had succeeded in his research, he wouldn't be in his current predicament? The self-serving desire apparent in his gaze made Kishir's insides churn. Ashes probably didn't realize it, but the Kishir sitting before him was also enduring a hereditary issue, fighting persistently. Knowing this fact, the sight of the two sitting across from each other appeared even more peculiar in Yudhir Ail's eyes. Yudhir silently observed the back of Kishir, lost in thought. Only after a considerable amount of time had passed, time enough for Ashes to grow anxious from the wait, did he open his mouth with a sigh, resting his chin on his hand. Well, it's hard to say for sure right now. Although it's a record I have seized, wouldn't it be difficult to decide such a significant matter on my own discretion? To win the trial, we can't overlook this fact. You know this, right, First Prince? I am aware, but don't you think it's cruel to easily expose the history of pain that a family has carried for a long time, especially a family like Apeto? Ashes pleaded, clasping his hands. Your Highness, Do you not know how much those in the name of Sean Opeto have devoted their bodies and minds to serving the R Empire? Even though I could be accused of betraying my father and family, I have carried this pain and come this far. Won't you pity me? It was a splendid performance, enough to deceive anyone who didn't know his ulterior motives. But Yudhir knew that Kishir was just as good at playing the game. What should we do? This is quite. My heart truly aches. Kishir, deep in thought and touching his temples, exhaled deeply. In an instant, a scene unfolded before everyone's eyes, akin to a masterpiece painted dubbed the sun god's sigh of despair. No one knows better than I do that the first prince has come this far, prepared for great sacrifices. How could I ignore such dedication? Then, if that's the case, Ashes mumbled blankly. It was pitiful to see him trying hard to focus his eyes, not to faint. I can't guarantee, but I will try to convince the court to minimize the reference to that issue, and though it's difficult to hand over the official record. Kishir, who had been trailing off and gazing into space, broke into a smile. Don't you know the way to see the evidence doesn't necessarily involve receiving it from me? For a moment, Ash's expression changed peculiarly. I have already sent Beltrail's research records to the court. That's all I can tell you. I understand. Ashes couldn't hide his joyous expression as he quickly stood up from his seat. Either felt as though he could guess his next move as clearly as the back of his hand. He probably thinks that he can easily get his hands on the evidence submitted to the court by bribing someone. I appreciate your advice, Your Highness. I should be on my way. Given that I had to avoid my family's prying eyes to come here, I cannot stay long. I am aware. Ashes swiftly disappeared with his servant. His unconcerned demeanor was striking, even though the tea he had requested hadn't arrived yet. Yudhir, would you return that paper to me? As soon as Ashes was gone, Kishir, who had been tensed, relaxed back in his chair and extended his hand toward Yudhir. Faced with Kishir's playful childlike eyes sparkling with mischief, Yudhir handed over the paper and finally broke his silence. Sir, did you really send the research records to the court?